And to those who have been directing racist abuse at some of the players, I say shame on you, and I hope you will crawl back under the rock from which you emerged.
Big Boris brushed his hair for this one, lads, so you know he means business. Better be on your best behavior if you're still hoping to get yourself a shiny new blue passport.
Blue passport.
Hey Girl Scout, what's shakin'? How have you been? I personally have been witnessing chaos around me in the streets of England. The aftermath of the loss against Italy in the Euros unfolding before my very eyes. One guy was even having an argument with the Italian restaurant on the high street. No, not with the people inside, but with the actual building. From what I saw, he was losing the argument pretty badly too. Despite the loss, it was all fun and memes, singing about shoving twirly pasta up the Italians' asses or something, until Daryl, down at the spoon, slammed his Stella down in anger, picked up his cracked from throwing it at the wall phone, and channeled his anger by making disgusting racist comments towards the 3 players whose skin color didn't match his pasty wife-beater. And yes, all of Daryl's friends followed suit because someone had to say what the lads were all thinking, according to Keith and Dan and Roger.
3 English players have been targeted with racist abuse on social media following their miss in the penalty shootout. England players Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford and Bukayo Saka were all targeted. The Football Association says it's appalled by the abuse and called on the government to bring in legislation to punish those guilty.
Yep, true team spirit from these people, eh? You may think the media has been over-exaggerating the situation, and normally I take things like this with a grain of salt and attribute it to a small group of people being overrepresented. But walking the streets after the loss, I was there to witness it for myself. I heard the word deported being thrown around, among other words I won't repeat. Which is funny, because last I checked, South Manchester was still in England, so deporting Rashford would be a bit of a lengthy process when he could just catch an Uber home and wind up in the same place. I thought together we could look at the situation and shit on those who are ruining what is meant to be a fun sport and turning it into something sinister, so let's just jump right into it.
Oi, look!
In case you didn't really pick up on what was happening, this clip shows some Brits booing during the Italian national anthem and some people assaulting Italian fans. I mean, who could blame them? How dare Italy be proud of themselves and their country for making it to the championships? The audacity of them to think that they have the same right to sing their national anthem and celebrate? Seriously, this is just cringy. Imagine caring so much about a soccer match that you hate on a whole ass country for existing. The last time I checked, someone hating on a whole race of people for being born the ethnicity they are despite having no control over it and resorting to violence to punish them, well, that didn't end too well. The dumbest part of it all to me is that the players themselves, the ones the most invested in the game, are generally pretty courteous to each other during games, like helping each other up if they knock the other down accidentally, stuff like that. That's not to say there's not a bit of animosity and a bit of pushing around happening, but if they can be respectful to their opponents, surely the fans would follow suit. I mean, when fans mobbed Wembley and stampeded in without tickets, they actually ended up injuring player Harry Maguire's dad and left him with some broken ribs. It's almost like the players mean nothing to them and they only care about how the win makes their country look. It makes you wonder how much of the game is really about the sport and how much of it is really about pride. Take our main man Daryl or Brad or whatever this racist guy's name is. Doesn't sound too much like it's the soccer he cares about.
Where do I start? Where do I start? Yeah, sick, gutted, like all of us. Proper deflated. Be proud of the boys, be proud, but anyone and everyone that knows me well will understand what I'm talking about. 3 lions on a shirt, right? How many times have we seen England players, wogs, take penalties for us and fuck it up? 3 fucking lions, 3 fucking fucked it for us.
Look, we've all been guilty of talking shit while watching other people do something professionally. The amount of times I've watched the Olympics while shoving my face full of Pringles and scoffed when someone does something less than perfect despite never having tried the sport myself? Too many times to count. And honestly, even my ability at getting the Pringles out of the can is subpar at best, so I am in no way qualified to make any judgments. None of us are. And yet, we do it anyways because it makes us feel better or something. But going after someone's race to scratch that itch of inferiority is a low blow, one that is unwarranted and irrelevant to the situation. Why didn't their race matter until the loss, Daryl? You're either grasping at straws because you know you can't match their talent and need something to fuel your fight that can't be argued against you, or you've always been racist but simply let it slide as long as the people of color were benefiting you in some way. Which one is it? Neither are making you look good right now, pal. No wonder your kids begged the judge to give Mummy full-time custody. Now, you know Daryl is out here blaming dirty foreigners for the Euros loss and also for every little thing that goes wrong in his life. Newsflash, man. Mary left you for another British guy, and your boss fired you to hire the expat intern because you show up to work smelling like piss and old cigarettes and not for diversity points. And guess what, Daryl? It was your own born and bred Brits that trashed Leicester Square. Talk about hypocritical. Honestly, it's shit like this that makes me want to come home to Canada. If you were one of these people, I hope you're embarrassed that you've literally harassed some young kids over a game that you'd have no chance in even coming close to winning yourself. And you've done so in the name of British pride while smashing bottles and throwing B&H butts on the ground for your fellow citizens to clean up in the morning. Congrats, Daryl. Bet your mom is real proud of you. Surprisingly, some good has come out of this if you can believe it. A petition a woman made back in May asking that verified ID be required to sign up to social media has come to light due to the racism. Removing that anonymity that socials currently have means that those who are hiding their racism in plain sight will have no way to disguise their prejudice. I also think in terms of catfishing and child grooming, this kind of thing would be a great idea, so I'm glad people are taking notice. A lot of British fans also wanted to show their support and make it known that this type of behavior is unacceptable. After a mural of player Marcus Rashford was defaced, tons of people gathered to cover it in kind words and give him love, which I think is kind of awesome.
Look at how the community is responding. You can't see any of the abuse here, not just because it's been covered up in bin bags, but because they have been plastered over with hundreds and hundreds of messages of support. This is South Manchester, Withington, the streets on which Marcus Rashford grew up. And it was just a few hours after that fateful penalty in the final on Sunday night that the abuse was scrawled on this wall here.
To end on a bit of a lighter note, I did catch a glimpse of Prince William and Prince George cheering on England while I was watching the game, and I thought I'd add that in as a palate cleanser from all the disappointment we just saw.
William threw his fist in the air, clapped and cheered as George hugged his mom before throwing his head back and letting out a big laugh with his dad.
Mans really went from future ruler of the country to bloke watching the footy with his boy, and George went from posh little child to long-term investment banker at a private firm. Just goes to show that every British guy is a lad deep down inside. Anyways, sign that petition and don't associate with any Daryls, okay? Instead of being racist and lashing out at the loss, just hope the World Cup has a better outcome and be proud that the team was good enough to reach the finals for the first time ever. Let me know your thoughts on the situation in the comments below. That's all from me. Hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you again soon. Peace out, Girl Scout. Thanks for watching.